Hello everyone, and welcome to the English Teacher's Guide to everything you need to know about what were they like. This poem is part of the edXL conflict section amongst others, and I'm here today to help you achieve perfect marks if you are using this poem in your exams. Here is the poem. Hopefully you've already got plenty of your own notes, and all I'm doing here is to add to those notes to help you achieve perfection in those exams. Basic meaning. The poem is seemingly set within a classroom setting, although the setting isn't very clear. It could happen somewhere essentially where a conversation could take place. An unknowing figure, perhaps a student, poses questions regarding the Vietnamese and their culture. The responses are from a knowing figure who responds to each question in turn. Is this a teacher? Is this a Vietnamese person themselves? We're not entirely sure. This work is a response to the Vietnam War and the negative impact it's had on the Vietnamese people. And losing relics and their songs suggest that the war has caused the people of Vietnam to lose their identity. So this obviously is an anti-war poem which reflects the negative aspects that war has on civilians, on people. Form. The use of two voices highlights the ignorant, potentially many readers who know little about the Vietnamese apart from what was reported of them in the news, and the knowledgeable, those who understand the devastating impact the war has had on Vietnam. A Vietnamese person or even a soldier perhaps. The cold nature of the responses and the questions reflect the cold manner in which TV reported on the injuries of civilians at the time. And let's not forget that the injuries suffered through things like Agent Orange and napalm were horrendous. Structure. Structure and working in a series of questions and responses creates the impression of an interview, which suggests the person asking the questions, maybe an innocent American journalist, is only interested in what they wish to know or possess, like the Americans during the war perhaps. Finishing with a rhetorical question allows the poet to question us as the reader on our thoughts of civilians at war. Ending with "it is silent now" obviously not only suggests that no Vietnamese person is left to respond, but the use of the full stop helps to further emphasise the end of life and the conflict. A lack of rhyme, so a free verse structure, can highlight the lack of harmony within Vietnam due to the war. Opening with "the people" highlights that civilians are the most important aspects of this war poem, which is not always the case. Finally, the repetition of "remember" forces the reader to consider the human aspects of war and those who died. So add these points to your notes, and let's finally move on to the language section. The use of the past tense throughout supports the view that the people of Vietnam are no longer as they were, or are no longer alive due to war. The questions in the first stanza, whether the Vietnamese people had a culture before the war. This creates a naive impression of the first speaker, but it also generates a prejudiced view of the Vietnamese people. Light hearts turn to stone contrast the pre- and post-war Vietnamese. It suggests that they have either lost feeling or they are simply dead. No more buds is an image used to represent the young, the future of the country. This obviously suggests the war has eradicated the next generation of Vietnamese. Burned mouth, a reference to napalm used in civilians, but also a reference to the loss of voice due to war. Bombs smashed the mirrors, highlights the ways in which the bombing destroyed the paddy fields that many use as their only method of survival, and in particular is a deeply ingrained part of the Vietnamese culture, suggesting that war has literally smashed Vietnamese culture and life. Finally, violent words such as smashed and scream highlight the pain and suffering civilians feel during times of war. Now please make sure you've added these to your notes, and thank you. Use this as part of your revision. Make sure you're looking at what comparisons you could do, and I'm sure with these notes you'll go on to achieve perfect marks in your exam. Thank you. Good luck.